What's going on, guys? This is Real Estate Q&A Sessions week 82. Appreciate you guys for always showing up, showing out. Again, 82 weeks. But let me go ahead and start this off by saying, R.I.P. Dolph. Man, R.I.P. Dolph. I gotta start this thing off by saying rest in peace to my dog, Dolph. Man, been sick about that all day yesterday and this morning. I know this is a real estate show, but but I definitely Dolph is one of my favorite artists, so that hit me a little bit, and I just want to start the show off by saying R.I.P. Dolph, young Dolph. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing going. Appreciate you guys for showing out. As always, this is Real Estate Q&A Sessions week 82. Give you guys nothing but value every single week, consecutive weeks in a row. This is the only place, not the only place, but this is a place where you can come and ask your real estate questions each and every week. Doesn't matter what it is. And, I'll do my best to answer. Gets a couple things out the way. Housekeeping as always. Guys, if you are getting value out of this, please share the show, screenshot, post to your story, let folks know what we're doing, because when you show other folks what we're doing each and every week, they might have questions that you didn't think to ask. They come in here, they'll ask, therefore you get value because they're going to ask a question that you might not have thought to ask. And if it gets answered, then guess what? You just learned something new. So that's why I tell you guys, share, screenshot, post it to your story. I don't want to be on your feed. Just put me on your story. That's fine, right? You can just screenshot it. Do that. That works for me. That is the only thing I ask of you guys when I dedicate my time each and every week to you guys to do this and to give back. This is how I give back to the community. This is my community service every week, right? An hour a week. This is what I do, right? Also, more housekeeping news. So, if you guys, what was the other thing? Oh, yes, disclaimer. I am not a guru, right? Give you guys this disclaimer every week. I'm not a guru. I just know a little bit more than the average Joe. I'm out here in these real estate streets, as they say, each and every day, and have been for more than a few years now. So you can choose to listen to me, choose not to. Hey, just give you that disclaimer. I am not a guru. So yeah, now that we've got that out the way, I will be making today a short show. So I'm going to give this till about 12:45 because today is a very, very busy day. And my schedule is like this. I'm actually sitting outside of an appointment right now. But I said, let me go ahead and get you guys going and to give my time to you guys. So we'll be on for about 20 minutes. So we'll do 20 minutes, and hopefully, we can get some things going. So, appreciate you guys for popping in here. William Levant, what's good? Mark, what's up? Hypnotic Film, what's good? JGuy_91. Appreciate you guys for coming in here. As always, this is where you can come and ask anything, everything real estate related. Doesn't matter whether you buy your first house, your 10th house, contractors, loans, rental properties, flips, wholesaling, did I say contractors? All of that stuff, right? I have had experience doing all of that stuff. So yes, if you guys have any questions regarding any of those subject matters, please feel free to ask. If I don't know the answer, I will just tell you I don't know the answer. But more than likely, I have some sort of answer, or I have the actual answer. So please feel free to comment right there. Where the comment section is right there, and or where the question mark is, and I will do my best to answer those questions. So normally I give you guys an update on what I got going on. Naturally, very busy. The contracting business is just, now you got like a little graph, and it's going like this. Things going like this. It's crazy right now. People are calling me left and right to take care, that want things done. So since I started this contracting business, I'd say maybe, I was doing work before. I started this business like 6 months ago, but I've been doing work before that. So officially like 6 months. And right now, as it stands, we're getting calls left and right. You know, hey Kim, but if you could spare for, I have some things. Yeah, people. Who is that? So yeah, so as I said, so things are skyrocketing. I have people asking me to renovate their houses, basements, bathrooms, all that kind of stuff, paint. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. So managing those things from the contractor side of things is crazy. And then on the investment side, we still have houses on the market that we had listed, haven't sold yet, but waiting for that to sell. In the middle of another rehab, trying to wrap that up. Good news is we are actually closing on another property next week. So next week, Monday, I will have another property in the books. Go ahead and claim it. It's going to be a renovation. I don't think I showed you guys this this property yet, but I'll show you the property once we close on it. Nice neighborhood, small little quaint house. It'll be great for a flip given the neighborhood. And once we close on that on Monday, I will show you guys. So we'll add another one to the belt. As always, appreciative of the fact that we are able to even do these things, which these things are closing on properties, right? And this is why I tell you guys have to be consistent in your endeavors if you guys want to do this stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to action. If you're not putting in the work, you're not going to see any action, right? So I always try to keep a steady flow of homes just moving, because I have to keep people busy. I have to keep guys busy. I have to keep the workers and the business running. So that's why I try to make sure that I do a healthy dose of rentals and flips. So this year, specifically this year, we said we were going to do 4 flips, one per quarter. So 1 first quarter, 1 second quarter, 1 third quarter, 1 fourth quarter. So far we're going to be on flip number 5 in next week, right? Flip number 5. So I set a goal out this year to not only acquire rentals, but to also do flips on top of that. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why. But for some reason, I have been able to do it. Now, don't ask me how, but I've been able to do it. So luckily, we've been able to add more onto our plate while also starting another business. You know what I'm saying? So with that in mind, we did not buy as many rentals this year. The first year, bought 7 rentals. After that, I can't tell you how many I bought after that. But anyway, this year, how many rentals did we buy? Not that much, right? Not that much, because still, I can't buy everything, right? Again, try to keep a healthy dose of things. And once you get a certain foundation of rentals, 10, 20, 30, 40, you can essentially stop buying and do other things, right? But that's not the case for me. Next year, I'm gonna ramp it up on rentals and maybe tone down on the flips, because the market's getting crazy. The market is driving these prices up, and it's just kind of wild. Anyway, what's going on, Brett? Son is that Joe? What's going on, man? How do you determine flip or keep? Oh, so this is a good question. So for me, like, I had a goal. So I was like, hey, look, actually, this is a good question. So I have a threshold when it comes to what I'm keeping as far as rentals are concerned, right? And I run that equation. If you go back, I gave you guys an equation I use is cash on cash return. What percentage is that, right? My threshold is 12%. Cash on cash. So if I put in X amount of dollars, I want to be able to get 12% back of my money every month, right? And so for me, cash on cash return is how I determine whether or not I'm going to keep a rental, property as a rental and keep it as a flip. The other thing is price point, right? Because if the price point is driven up to a certain point, it doesn't matter what the rent rate is, that number or that cash on cash return number is going to be something that's very small. right? So if I bought a house for $50,000 and it was turnkey and I'm getting, $1,200 or $1,500 a month for it, I can tell you right now that cash on cash return is very great, right? But that number is going to start decreasing the higher price points, 60, 80, 100. So you can get a property for $60,000, rent it out for $1,200 to $1,500, and you're good to go. But that same property or a different property at $100,000 with the same rent rate is going to yield a smaller return on your money. So for me, I don't really go over 100K, right? Because in Baltimore, unless I'm just in an area that is giving me $2,500 in rent, right, or a multi-unit, because you want the rent rates to be higher. You want the rent rates to be higher with higher purchase prices. If you purchase higher, if you have a higher purchase price and your rent rate is still is at the same level as you purchasing a property at $50,000 or $60,000, then your return on your investment is going to be small, right? And so you have to think about all the time and money and that you're going to spend to keep this rental. And let's say you end up with only 5% cash on cash with your money. There's other things you can put your money into that will give you better returns than 5%. It's a lot to maintain a rental property, right? Like, don't underestimate what it is to own rental properties. They require work. They are money pits in some cases, and they are a long-term risk, right? So just because you have a rental doesn't mean it's going to make you money. Just because you have a rental doesn't mean your tenants are going to pay, right? Or you're going to have perfect years where, all 12 months you're renting this property out and you're cash flowing, right? And so you have to take that into account. The last thing I want you guys to do is purchase a rental property and then you're only cash flowing $100 to $200 a month, right? And you're going to have, and knowing that you're going to go through the struggles of the highs and lows of being a landlord, right? You're going to have those months where tenants aren't paying. You're going to have those months where you don't have anybody in the property and you're looking for a tenant. You're going to have those months where something breaks and, all that stuff. You don't want to have to be managing all those things, or even having a property manager manages those things and they're getting their 10 to 12% or 8%, and you're only walking away with $100, $200, right? So it has to, the cash on cash return number, cash flow number has to make sense, right? I need to be making at least 12% of my money when I buy an investment property. So, what does 12% look like? I can't tell you the numbers on air. I told you I don't do math on air, but I give you a good number, right? So if I'm all in on a property for $100,000 and I'm cash flowing, or if I'm profiting $3,000 a month after my expenses, I'm about at $2,000 a month, right? And I'm all in at 100. I can tell you that cash on cash return number is probably somewhere in the 20%. That is awesome. That is great, right? 20-25%. That's a good number, right? But that's with a multi-unit. But I'm just giving you guys an example. So let's say we're talking about it like a single family, right? So if I'm all in on a property, $80,000, and let's say the rent rates are $1,500, I might be walking away with, after I refinance, I might be walking away with anywhere between $500 to $800. That's a great deal. I don't need to know the cash on cash percentage to know that's a great deal, right? Walking away with $500 to $800 a month after your expenses is a great number to walk away with, right? And that's the whole point of what I'm telling you guys, is that you don't want to buy a whole rental property, spend all this money, and then have to manage this long-term risk, and you're only walking away with $200 to $100. People do that for the sake of having a property, but I'm telling you guys, that's not the smart way to do it. So when it comes to determining what to flip and what to keep things that are going to cash flow you at least 10 to 12% every month, right? You flip things that are at higher price points that have the ARV to support a flip. So when it comes to flips, I just had this conversation yesterday. Somebody asked me, well, somebody called me wanting to evaluate a deal. Went through the whole deal. You know, I think the purchase price. So here, I'll go through the numbers. So she called and said, hey, I'm looking to buy this property at $250. All right, cool. What's the ARV? Well, 340. Yeah, 340. Okay, how much needs to go into it? No, I'm sorry, 260. 260 was the purchase price. How much needs to go into it? Oh, 40,000. Okay, so that puts you at 300. You're all in 300. I said, what's the ARV? Oh, the ARV is about 340. Okay, I don't need to know that that's not a deal. I'm gonna tell y'all why. So she was like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good deal. It's not gonna be that much work, 40 grand. We'll walk away with 40 grand once I sell at 340. I said, well, things don't work like that, right? So if you don't know how to run numbers, you can't buy. If you buy a house at $100,000, put 50 into it, you're all in at 150, and sell it for 200. You're not walking away with $50,000, guys. There's more that comes into these numbers when you're trying to evaluate a deal. So I walked her through the whole process with my calculator and showed her, like, you have holding costs. So however long you're holding the property, whether that's 3 months, 6 months, you're paying, if you're using hard money, you're paying interest-only payments on that house. So anywhere between $800-900. In her case, it was going to be like $2,200 a month, every month. So let's say 6 months. That's damn near $12,000, right? Or above $12,000, right? You have $12,000 in holding costs, right? You have your agent fees when you sell it. So you have to pay the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. So let's just say 6%. 6% of 340. I don't know what it is, but I know it's somewhere above $10,000. So you got to pay that, and then you have to pay, your miscellaneous stuff, insurance, electric, while you're holding the property. So holding costs are associated. Realtor fees are associated. Staging fees are associated. So that $300,000 that you're all in for, and you're selling for $340, that $40K is going to start to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle very quickly. And what are agents paid off of? Commissions, percentages. So the higher that property sells for, the more money they get, right? 20%. There you go, Brent. 20%. I mean, 20K, right? So if you're at 300, right? If you're at 300, add 20K to that. So now we're at 320 and 340, right? So we only have a 20K spread, and we're not even talking about the holding costs. And I told you holding costs are about $12,000 or a little above that. So now we're at $32,000. $32,000. Let's add some miscellaneous fees or whatever, right? We're about at $36,000 or it's about $34,000. And the math worked out perfectly in my head. She was actually going to walk away with about $6,000. So imagine that, right? Imagine buying a property for $260, putting 40 in, all in at 300, and you sell it at 340. You're not walking away with $40,000. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes into play. She was going to walk away with $6,000. I said, hey, I know so-and-so told you this was a deal and, you should do it, but I'm letting you know right now, this is not a deal, right? So when determining a flip, try to have at least a 30K spread with your profits. I'm talking about after everything. Everything is included. You want at least a 30K spread, right? And in some cases, some markets, guys, you guys are not going to be able to do that depending on the deal. But my point is this: it's better to not do the deal than to do that deal, right? I'd rather y'all walk away from a 6K spread or 10K spread, 15K spread, 20K spread than take it and realize that 20K can easily go down to 10K. 10K can easily go down to 5K. 5K can easily go down to you losing money. Same thing at about 15, right? And so you want to give yourself a 30K spread it's a buffer, because naturally, if you guys have never flipped before, you're going to run into issues. You're going to run into problems. You're going to go over budget. You're going to take longer, right? I still go over budget. I still take longer. Like, I'm not a perfect flipper by no means necessary, but I'm telling you guys from experience, because I used to work with a very experienced flipper. And these things, no matter whether you've done 1 house, 5 houses, 10 houses, you're still new, right? And there's things that are always going to pop up when it comes to renovations. So that's why you want to make sure you give yourself, when you're running your numbers, you give yourself a good 30K cushion spread, right? Because 30K can turn into 20K, but it doesn't kill you. 30K can turn into 15K, but it doesn't kill you. You walk away with, you know, $15,000 to $10,000 after you evaluate it, making 30, right? Which means something catastrophic happened, and you're still walking away with 10 to 15. That's a hard learning lesson, but I'd rather you do that than you walk away with nothing, or you owe, or you're in the negatives, being negative 5K, being negative 10K, right? So when you're evaluating flips, you need to make sure you give yourself enough buffer, and you're accounting for the holding costs. You're accounting for the selling transaction costs, closing costs, right? You might end up paying closing costs when you sell the property, depending on how you negotiate, whether you split it with the buyer or you end up paying all the closing costs or offering the commissions, all that stuff, right? So it's never going to be black and white numbers. I buy for 100, I put 50 in, I sell for 200, I get $50,000. That's not how it goes, guys. It's not how it goes. So that is, so for me, if I'm not making at least 30, now again, I do this more frequently, and I have a company, I have people. So if you're just weekend flipping, or you know, you're just trying to get your feet wet or whatever, I advise 30K, nothing less, right? For me, I can go and take less because I have to keep things running. I have people to keep employed and people that need to continue to work. So will I take 25, right? If I can't get a 30K spread, will I take 25? Yeah, I'll take 25, right? For the sake of keeping jobs and keeping things rolling, yeah, I'll take a lesser spread, and I'm probably going to be able to get the job done quicker than somebody that's never done it before, right? So that's why you want, that's what I look at when it comes to my renovations, right? The other thing, the one other key thing that she brought up was that she thought she was going to get it done in 3 months. And I said, hey, look, you know, you're new. You guys are new. Looking at a renovation and thinking that you're going to get it done in 2, 3, 4 months, that's great, right? But you've never done this before. Give yourself 6 months, right? Because if you go 3 months, 3 months is going to be 4. Especially if you don't have a crew, if you don't have a GC you've worked with before, you're going to have to start at the very beginning, right? And just because you know a GC doesn't mean that GC is going to work out, right? Whether it's the cost, his upfront cost, negotiating your cost, or actually throughout the rehab, doesn't mean that y'all going to work out, right? And so you're in the middle of the rehab, y'all fall out, now you have to go find another contractor. Who knows how long that's going to take, right? You might rush and put somebody in his place and they start working, and then you realize they suck. And now you got to go find somebody else, right? So I'm trying to tell you, these things happen. Brett says, when people say rehab costs, does that include GC fee? Yeah, it does include the GC fee. So normally, normally it's like this. So you'll have your rehab costs, interior, exterior, whatever the case may be, right? And then you'll have your GC fee, $5,000, $10,000. When GCs give you guys a quote, they'll either have their cost baked into the numbers. And that's why I told you guys, you need to have, when you go and search for these quotes, have them send it to you itemized. They'll either have their costs baked into the rehab costs, or they'll just flat out tell you, here's the cost for everything, right? Itemized. Here's my GC fee, and I get that regardless, right? So they might break everything down, a 40K renovation, itemize everything, right? But then somewhere in there, you're going to see a line that says GC fee $5,000. They get that regardless. That is their cost. So yes, include a possible GC fee. You know what I'm saying? 5, 10 grand, whatever the case may be, because some people just are straight up with you. Hey, I am going to get a GC fee on top of what it's going to cost you to get the renovation done. Because as a GC, and I know this now, there's a lot that goes into managing a rehab, right? For you to move about your day, move about your time without having to worry about X, Y, or Z, and it's on the GC, me, there's a lot that goes into that. So it's not so much just, hey, you got to do the work. No, hey, you have to do the work, make sure it's done on time, make sure it's done on quality, make sure materials are there, make sure guys show up, make sure you fire the right people, make sure all of this stuff, make sure the plans are going as all of this stuff, right? So some GCs will just straight up take that costs time, money. I get my GC fee on top of everything else, right? That is how that works. So yes, make sure you include that in your cost. Okay, couple more minutes. I told you guys I got a short show today. I'm here at an appointment, and I also have to return a phone call. So we're gonna take maybe another couple minutes. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I told you today is a short show. I have a very busy schedule today, back to back things. If you guys haven't done so already, screenshot, post to your story, let folks know we're doing each and every week. That's how you can show love. I am going to reiterate that. Hold on, who is this? Startup Strategist. What's going on? Appreciate you popping in here. Yeah, this is week 82 of Real Estate Q&A sessions, where you can come and ask anything, everything real estate related. I'll do my best to answer. This week is a short week, as I told you guys my schedule, but normally we do an hour. We do an hour every Thursday, and if you haven't checked out my feed, on my feed I post all the shows after I do them. So if you missed something, you can go check out the feed. Brent says, do you use drones to check roofs? No, I actually go up on the roofs, but drones are a great way to check out roofs. If your roofer does not have it, check to see if your roofer has a drone. I know a guy that actually he has a drone, and I think he provides those services where you pay him a little bit of money and he'll go drive it up there. He's a busy guy, but I do know somebody that does have a drone that can check roofs out. Outside of that, you probably still want to get a roofer, because with roofs, you can get a drone to look at the quality of the rubber roof or the shingles or the slate, right? But if the roof is known to have issues, somebody needs to physically go up there to not only obviously look, but you also want to make sure the sheathing is good. You want to make sure the flashing is good, right? The sheathing might be weak in one spot. You step on it and it starts bouncing like that. That wood is waterlogged up under there, needs to come out. So a drone can't feel that, right? Drone's just gonna fly over. You probably want somebody up there to physically kind of like check that roof to make sure that not only is the rubber and the integrity of the roofing material in good shape, but the stuff that's under it too as well. Because you can go over, like with roofs, you can go over a bad sheathing or joist, but you still have that issue, right? That issue is still there. And one thing with roofs is that bad news does not get better over time, right? So if you have a leak, right, in your roof, you want to get somebody up there to not only check the integrity of the roofing material, but also what's under that, the underlayment, the sheathing, all that kind of stuff, the joist. Walking on it gives you a good indication of whether what's something strong or not, because when you have a leak, that water is seeping through the roofing material and it's eating up or soaking into all of that sheathing. And sometimes that sheathing gets moldy, gets rotted, gets weak, right? Same thing with the joist. And next thing you know, your hole is even bigger, right? And you don't want to cover that stuff up. So that's why I say get somebody up there, look into, and if you really want to know, if you really want a professional roofer's opinion, somebody that just does roofs, like a professional, call these roofing companies and ask for a roof certification. Might cost you $300 to $500, and they'll let you know how much life you have, problems, XYZ, all that kind of stuff, and they'll either certify the roof or they won't certify the roof. If you get a certified roof and they come out and say this roof is good and give you the certification, you're good to go. If not, then you obviously they're going to let you know what problems are present that will allow you to figure out what, how you're going to fix the issues. All right, guys, I do have to go. Appreciate the questions, Brent, as always. Everybody else, appreciate y'all for popping in here. This week was a short week, but we'll be back next week. Hopefully my schedule is not as packed. I do want to leave y'all with this. Rest in peace, Young Dolph. Man, that's my boy. Rest in peace, Young Dolph, man. Y'all be safe out here in these streets. And the thing I tell y'all every week is all this money stuff is cool, but y'all gotta spend time with y'all families. Y'all gotta spend time with y'all loved ones. That's the stuff that really matters, because you can be gone tomorrow, right? Don't take time for granted, and don't take your loved ones' presence for granted, right? Next week, if y'all gonna be wherever you're at for Thanksgiving, make sure y'all appreciate that time. Don't take it for granted, right? I say this each and every week. I feel bad for Dolph family. This kind of stuff happens every day, right? It happens literally every single day. Tomorrow could be y'all last. Y'all never know, right? So make sure y'all appreciate y'all loved ones and y'all family, and just always remember that. Outside of that,